Hey, I have come quite literally to a fork in the road. How about that? Hello, my friends. So today I want to talk about fear, anxiety. Often we refer to it as stress. We live in a very anxious, very fearful world, and the media continuously feeds us stories and ideas that only serve to enhance or heighten that anxiety, that fear. And so I think one of our primary tasks to living a richer life is to minimize or free ourselves from anxiety and fear. And I was listening to a podcast where a good friend of mine, Amy Porterfield, was interviewing someone I don't know but whom I'm going to get to know. And that is Brooke Castillo. And Brooke is a master life coach and runs the School of Life Coaching. I'll link to that below. I encourage you to subscribe to her podcast and to check out her website and get into what she's teaching, because she gave one idea on that podcast interview that has really blown my mind. And it's going to sound so simple. Maybe it's going to be third grade for you, but it was revolutionary for me. And it was this idea. It was the idea, seems too casual, it's the idea that when we start feeling anxiety, we need to acknowledge that we're being fearful, and what we're really doing is making up stories in our head about bad things that are going to happen, because they haven't happened yet, right? Anxiety is all about the future. So the only way we can experience those bad things is to make up a story in our head. So we're having thoughts about this thing that may or may not happen, and then we live out that story in our head, and it causes our adrenaline to rush, our heartbeat to speed up, our blood pressure to rise, and it all starts with a thought. So Brooke's idea, the one I found so mind-blowing, was simply this. It's to adopt a belief. The belief is the worst thing that can happen is only an emotion, and there is no emotion that I'm unwilling to experience. And the beauty in this thing is it's indisputable. You might say, well, no, that's not the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that could happen is I could die. The worst thing that could happen is something bad could happen to someone that I love. Well, that's true, and I'm not minimizing that, but think about why is that the worst thing that could happen? Because you're going to feel horrible. You're going to feel grief. You're going to feel a sense of loss. You're going to feel a sense of betrayal. Whatever the thing is you're afraid of is going to result in an emotion. So really the worst thing that can happen is an emotion. What about the part where we say there's no emotion that I'm not willing to experience? Well, you're going to experience them anyway. Better to be willing and lean into that experience, process it, make use of it, and move on, than to resist it, because what we resist persists. This bit of brilliance has already begun helping to release some of the anxiety that I've been feeling the last few days about my trip to San Diego and about all the things that I have coming up that need to be done. I've just realized, well, what's the worst that can happen? An emotion. And there's no emotion that I'm unwilling to experience. I think that is mind-blowing. That is game-changing. I've adopted it as a new belief. I've put it in my daily declarations that I say to myself each morning. And I encourage you to consider doing the same thing. And I also encourage you to check out Brooke Castillo. And again, I put the link below so you can check out her podcast, her website. This is one brilliant lady, and I look forward to learning more from her, and I look forward to you learning more from her. What thoughts do you have on this? Have you heard about Brooke before? Have you heard this idea before? How do you deal with anxiety? I want to know what you have to say. We're a community. We talk to each other. So put your thoughts below in the comments. I will read and respond to as many as, I'll read all of them. I'll respond to as many as possible. And until next time, be free from anxiety. Live without a spirit of fear, but live with the spirit of love instead. I'll see you in the next video.
Love is forever. Love is forever. To believe you gotta let go. Light as a feather. Tokyo.